What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and the only thing worse for a gaming studio than being an insufferable bunch of progressive jackasses is being hypocrites about the whole thing and proving that you're really only interested in pandering.
Ding, ding, ding! What do we have for her, Johnny?
As we all know, Assassin's Creed Shadows is set to come out in about 2 months now that they've pushed back the release date on this game, and throughout the controversy surrounding Yasuke as one of the main characters of this game, Ubisoft has stuck to their guns and kept the character in the game. Tons of us have been telling them this is a mistake that will cost them tons of sales and will push this game well behind its counterparts in the franchise like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which did incredibly well. And secretly, it looks like Ubisoft knows that this is true, that the Yasuke situation is a turnoff for many gamers, especially in Japan.
You guys are so screwed now!
Agreed.
It was just noticed that the description of Assassin's Creed Shadows on the Steam page is different for the Japanese version compared to all the rest. This image here has been circulating around on social media showing the description of the game in various languages. If we zoom in on the English version here, for example, we can see that Yasuke is being described as a legendary samurai. Meanwhile, if we look at what ex-user Pirate Nation wrote, it looks like in the Japanese version they refer to him simply as a warrior worth 1,000 because they don't have the cojones to call him a legendary samurai in front of the Japanese.
You're a coward.
Well, the evidence does support that.
To top it all off, we've got some alleged leaks coming in from the company suggesting that they know damn well that this whole dive into the deep end on the progressive activism was a big-ass mistake. An email from a company insider suggests that Ubisoft understands the activist portion of their workforce is dead weight. Now, whether the email is genuine or not, the actions of the company suggest that they understand that this whole push into progressive activistic crap was about as effective as grafting a hostile alien appendage onto them. It'll probably end up being too late to save the company, but gradually, Ubisoft is realizing the best way to deal with an appendage like that is to simply lop it off. Alright, me hearties, let's take a peek at all this Ubisoft news, keeping in mind the context that this is a company that is on its last legs. Pretty much everyone agrees, even the schmucks in the access media who you know hate to admit it, but we all understand that Ubisoft needs Assassin's Creed Shadows to be a massive success, or else they will likely be in financial peril to the point that the company ends up being gutted. I have been saying this since last spring, that Ubisoft was in trouble, and that from the looks of Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows, which back in the spring of last year we were getting our first look at both of those games, but I said that trouble was only going to get worse for this company based on what we were seeing. And if I were Razor Fist, right about now, I'd be spinning in my chair, saying, F you, I was right, F you, I was right. But anyhow, With that context in mind, let's read about this alleged leaked email from a Ubisoft person, which tells us that the company might finally be acknowledging the problems that we've been trying to tell them about for a long-ass time. This article is from Smash JT, and in it, he mentions the source of his information, a newer YouTuber whose name I'm not sure how to pronounce properly yet, but I will link both the article and this YouTuber's video in the description if you want to check them out. But let's read from here where the article says that this YouTuber not only received an email from a Ubisoft insider, but also a very revealing PDF. This document allegedly originated from someone on Ubisoft's market research team, detailing the company's repeated failures. What stood out to me was how Ubisoft developers laughed at the document, as all it did was highlight the very same issues they'd been raising for years. Issues that Ubisoft leadership ignored until it became a crisis. The disconnect between Ubisoft's developers and upper management is nothing short of insane. Devs feel unheard, with decisions often dictated by market researchers and logistical bottlenecks, rather than creativity or any kind of real expertise in the gaming world. While the document doesn't mention DEI specifically, it's hard for me to hear all this and not immediately jump to that conclusion. When I hear this, I start thinking about some of the smaller studios, like Warhorse, for example, who has Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 set to come out in a few weeks, and I think about how the co-founder of that studio expressed concern when he found out that Assassin's Creed Shadows was at one point planned to be released within a few days of his game, and he wondered out loud on social media if his small studio would be able to compete with a behemoth like Ubisoft. Well, based on what we're seeing here, there are some real advantages to not being a bloated behemoth like Ubisoft. But anyhow, the next paragraph in the article describes the insider's comparison of Ubisoft's game development process to a factory line, where creativity gets completely suffocated by endless layers of bureaucracy. And then the next paragraph says, the insider went on to lament the logistical nightmares they've been dealing with, involved in even the most minor of tasks, such as fixing bugs. Devs face weeks of meetings just to approve a fix, making meaningful progress nearly impossible. This factory-like approach over at Ubisoft has driven out the superstars, the best and brightest developers, who seek opportunities at companies that value innovation over politics and process. Any real talent at Ubisoft at this point is all but gone, according to the leaked email. Speaking of superstars leaving, a striking insight from the leak was the classification of Ubisoft developers into three categories: superstars, highly skilled and often well-known, most have already left Ubisoft; good developers, talented but not prominent enough to secure jobs elsewhere; and then dead weight, lacking technical skill but thriving as political activists. And then this is the last bullet point that I'm going to read here. It says, the leaked PDF pointed to Ubisoft finally recognizing their failed attempts to cater to the widest possible audience. Read the modern audience. I love that has become such a widely used term now. But anyhow, we'll skip down to here where it says the document reportedly emphasized the need for focused video games targeting specific audiences. So basically, what I showed you guys earlier, the description of the game over on Steam with the Japanese description being different than the other descriptions, this is a crack in the armor for the blanket wokeness that has plagued the messaging of the company for a while now. It's starting to dawn on these bureaucratic shit for brains that trying to appeal to the modern audience has caused extraordinarily damaging problems for the company as a whole. If they had just played it straight with Assassin's Creed Shadows and just made a game dedicated to representing what people actually think of when they think about Japan, then they would have made a fortune. The game would have easily surpassed Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but now they're staring down the barrel of financial ruin as a company, and in their subsequent panic, they're noticing the most obvious shit, that making games for gamers is probably the best idea. Over in Japan, they are likely going to struggle to bring in those gamers, and they know it. There was talk at one point, as I'm sure a lot of you remember, that some political figures in that country wanted the game banned over in Japan. So yeah, focusing on gamers and pushing out the activistic crap should be a no-brainer. They wouldn't have to worry about changing descriptions for different countries if they weren't embracing controversy and instead made games for gamers. This may seem counterintuitive to some people, but trying to create something for everyone, like a lot of these modern companies do, puts them in a position where they create something that is enjoyed by less people. Trying to be more inclusive, turning Star Wars into a girls' brand over at Disney, for example, has caused them to hemorrhage the legions of mostly male fans that they once had. Letting something be what it's supposed to be and not trying to change it to appeal to the supposed majority is the way to go, especially when these companies suffer under the delusion that the majority is made up of progressive shit stains. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.